News from the table in the rolling waves. Dice in our hand, we're the dungeon's brave. Adventures tonight with our mighty team. Heroes we've become, living out the dream. Roll the dice, feel the thrill. Monsters we will overthrow. Questing with friends in the RPG show.
Hi, I'm Harmony Ginger, and I invented lightning, and the bear, and the letter L. So this Harmony Ginger thing exploded overnight, got very, very ugly, very, very fast, and hopefully has come to an end because Harmony Ginger is an adult. Now, in the great big scheme of things, it's a very, very small thing. But in the larger perspective of the direction of the OSR, which I'm thankfully no longer part of, especially in regards to females in the industry, it seems to be becoming a more prevalent. It's not new, but between the Kelsey Dion hate and now the Harmony Ginger hate. Yeah. And a lot of people, including a few I didn't expect, either jumped on the let's defend Harmony or let's go after Harmony. Now, if you're not familiar with our friend Harmony Ginger, she is a YouTuber and a game master, and she has risen to popularity very quickly over the past year. And over the past several months, she has been talking about a game she ran using a specific method of play called the Braunstein or Bernstein method, which was created in the years before actual D&D as a way to play personal individual characters in the war game. Now, I'm not going to get into the full history of the style of play. I've posted links down below. I also don't want to take any attention away from Harmony. She does a great job of talking about it. But things exploded yesterday when a certain individual made some rather erroneous claims in regards to what Harmony was doing with her game and with her word and her use of the word. And basically it just became, once you got into the reason why this individual was upset, it became very clear that the reason this individual upset was really, really not a thing in any way, shape, or form. And then we found out some more information. And then it was like, oh, okay, now I'm beginning to understand why you're upset, because you think she's taking money out of your pocket. And then some other things were mentioned, and it continued to spiral into ridiculousness. Somehow I got involved in it because I was questioning what was happening, and I had a very long personal conversation with Harmony. I asked her yesterday if she wanted me to talk about this because I felt I wasn't going to jump on it until she had her say, if she wanted to, and if she didn't, it was up to her, because, you know, I was in a position at the time to actually speak to her directly, as opposed to other times when I've jumped on grenades without getting the full story. A lot of credit has been given to Harmony, undeserved. She didn't create one by one time. All she did was give a lot of free advertising to this style of play. Now, you would think, considering the fact she has done more positivity for this very specific style of play in the past 6 months than the OSR has done in the past 50 years. In fact, according to one post, only 2 people knew about this style, and only 2 people had ever seen the actual rules. So how could she be playing it if she's never seen it? Which led to the whole ship of Theseus, buffalo chicken wings argument, or, well, I don't have permission to use the word D&D, but I still play D&D. I don't have permission from Jeff D to use Villains and Vigilantes, but I still play Villains and Vigilantes. You can't copyright a word, etc., etc., etc. And again, it basically broke down to false accusations, some very hostile words, and jealousy. At the end of all, it was jealousy. Just like with Kelsey Dion, the OSR was jealous. here is a upstart young female entering the boys club and doing more for the hobby in 6 months than they'd done in the past 50 years in regard to this one specific style of play. As for the only 2 people know about it, so how is she talking about it? Well, that's other bullshit, because I knew about the Braunstein method long before Harmony ever spoke about it, and I played in several games that used the Braunstein method over my 40 some odd years in the hobby. None of them were run or had any connection to the 2 individuals, so no, it's not a thing. And even the guy who originally made it didn't make anything new. He just gave it a name and wrote it down. The style of play they're talking about is basic dramatic play, and it dates back to, I don't know, the dawn of time. Any kid ever playing with a bunch of other kids where they're all playing action figures or toys, or you're the mom, you're the post office. Yeah, no, you didn't invent Jack. But you're jealous and you were afraid that she was going to take money out of your pocket, though at no point in time has Harmony ever claimed that she invented the method of play. She has always given credit to where she learned about it and the individual who originally did it. She's never misled anybody to think that she created it. If you think she created it, that's on you. She never said so. Also, she's not a part of the Bro SR, so stop mixing her with that sandwich. The Bro SR is a completely separate entity. She had one conversation with one member. She is not a member of the Bro SR. We could go on to the Bro SR. That's a completely separate art topic. So at no point in time did she violate the copyright, because you can't copyright a word and you can't copyright a game. DC Comics doesn't own the word Superman. They can't copyright Superman. They can copyright their very specific take on Superman, and if you tried to make money off of that, they could choose to go after you. So yeah, there's no copyright for the word Braunstein, because you can't copyright a game, you can't copyright a word. The Supreme Court said so in the 1970s. But yeah, so she was using it. She was giving it free press. It got her a lot of attention. Some people apparently got upset for no good reason, went after her tooth and claw. She defended herself. Other people defended herself. And finally, it seems it is over. This is the official statement from Harmony. Hopefully, this will bring it to an end. But of course, we know it won't, because other people are going to try and milk this heat. Harmony says, I believe we can put the drama to rest, as there is now an agreed upon definition of the method. Multiple independent actors operating in a possible conflict under a fog of war. I did in fact run one every available definition and published resource. And it is exactly the same as the original game. There are a few structural differences. Players made their own characters instead of using prejigs, but the major defining elements were there. I don't want to fight with people anymore over this. I've got nothing but respect for Wesley, and I value the contributions him and Griff made to the hobby. I hope we can all call it done here. Please do not harass Griff or Wesley or Dave or anyone else involved. We have all had bad tweets, and this was all kind of ridiculous. I love Secrets of Blackmore, and I think we can make peace and move forward with all respect to the elders of the hobby. There's a clip with the agreed upon definition when the individual in question was being interviewed on a YouTube last night, and he and the other individual and several other individuals agreed on the definition of the style of play. So hopefully this means that whatever ugliness that was being thrown at Harmony will come to an end. We know that people have already made videos and comments about it without getting the full story, both positively towards her and support, including one I didn't expect ever to see. But then again, far be it from everybody and their dog to milk a little heat. Now, I think it's again, and this is going to get me hate from the OSR, which I'm no longer a part of, thank God. Basically, you were jealous that a girl was being more successful than you were. Same with Kelsey. A girl did what you said you were going to do, did it better, and you're upset. How dare she? But doesn't that go against the two main driving points of the argument the OSR has been having for the past several years in regards to the Wizards of the Coast false narrative, the woke, soy boy, leftist LGBTQT agenda of Wizards of the Coast? Don't we want people to believe that anybody could play D&D, including girls, and anybody could talk about D&D, including girls. And didn't we say we want all the politics and the ugliness out of the hobby? We just want people to make good games and bring love and support to the hobby, both new and old. We want people to see the OSR without any of the ugliness that Wizards of the Coast was trying to staple to it, which is something Harmony did. She got a whole bunch of new people to play this OSR style of play, one of the original styles of role-playing, predating Dungeons and Dragons, predating Dave. She brought a whole bunch of positive attention to it, which is, I thought, what we wanted. And I thought we wanted people to think that girls were welcome in the hobby. But in the past 2 weeks, we have shown how ugly the hobby is towards Kelsey Dion and Harmony Ginger, which goes against the whole mentality that girls are always welcome. We want you to, it's the same thing I went through as a teacher. We want we want male teachers. We just don't want male teachers working with any of our kids. We want somebody to be successful in the hobby. We just don't want girls to be successful in the hobby. It went too far. She wasn't trying to make money for it. She never once claimed it was hers. If there was a copyright, she did absolutely nothing to violate it, but there isn't a copyright because you can't copyright a word and you can't copyright a game. The Supreme Court said so in the 1970s. Also, she did not invent 1.1 time, and she is not part of the BroSR. All she did was she homebrewed something that everybody else has done forever. She saw something she liked. She got as much information as she could, and then she introduced it to other new players, and it went off like firecrackers. It could have been a total failure. Her players could have gone, no, this is dumb. But they got into it, and they liked it, and for 6 months or so, she's been doing nothing but saying how great this game was, how great this style of play works. Here's a lot of free action. Here's a lot of free advertising, real old school rules. Wow, look at all this free advertising. Look at all this positive energy she's generated. It's a town. Braunstein is a town. And then he made up a European town to set the original thing is. But again, you can't copyright a game, and you can't copyright a word. Superman, you can't copyright Superman. Nobody owns that word. You own a specific definition of the word. You own a specific way the word is projected. You own Dungeons and Dragons doesn't own Dungeons and Dragons. They own the ampersand in between the two words. That's the dragon biting its tail. That's theirs. The interpretation that we are familiar with of Superman, that's 100% Detective Comics. You cannot sell Clark Kent in the blue suit with the red cape who takes damage from kryptonite, who lives in Metropolis, and who dates Lois Lane. You cannot do that. But the word Superman, you can use that. So Harmony was not in the wrong. She was an adult, and she handled it as a professional, and we talked about it, and I didn't want to say anything until she printed it. So now it's done. It's over. Are there going to be more video about it? Of course there were. Are there going to be people who still hate her for being successful? Of course there are, which just is sad and sucks. And really, I mean, if you want to disprove Wizards of the Coast and the false narrative of how we treat women in the hobby, well, I wouldn't show them this, or I wouldn't show them any of the posts you guys have made about Kelsey Dion, because that seems to reconfirm this false narrative. Girls aren't welcome in the hobby, especially if they're successful in the hobby, and especially if they're doing more for the hobby than us old fucks. I, for one, am proud of her. I'm excited that she's bringing attention to this old style of play. Hopefully it will open the door for more and more people to appreciate all the contributions that the OSR, that the old school, that the games that exist outside the universe of 2024 D&D that are out there. They're great games. They all have something good to contribute. Games that were made 50 years ago have stuff to contribute. Games that were made 50 minutes ago have stuff to contribute. Harmony has something to contribute to the hobby that right now is positive, and that's a good thing. People jumped on her for running her game and using their word, and they didn't like it. And I'm sorry, but you guys were in the wrong. And your argument was completely facile, and it would not stood up in anything, and you were taken to court by the internet quite quickly, and any goodwill that people have had towards that company and those individuals has probably been lost. On the other hand, you've gotten Harmony probably another couple thousand views and a couple dozen new subs, and if she did sell a product right now, it probably would sell because you did nothing but make her look better. The rest of this is detailed on Harmony's Twitter. If you want to follow it, there's a link down below. There's a link to Harmony's YouTube if you want to subscribe and watch her. And if you feel there's more important things going on in the world of tabletop role-playing game news than this OGGM, you're probably right. But again, I feel it is a teeny little spectrum of what's appearing to be a larger problem. Well, I mean, you know, of the way Kelsey was treated, the way she was treated, the way women who are bringing positive things to the hobby are being treated. Even Jeannie D occasionally. Now, I mean, if there's a female in the hobby you want to go after, Mackenzie still works for Wizards of the Coast. She's still spouting her BS. Anyways, that's it. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you never want to hear me talk about this again, I'm not going to, but I'm sure plenty of other people will. Till next time, I'm the OGGM. Have a great day. I will talk to y'all later. See ya!
Yo, check. Yeah, we're not the type to play games. You can state claims. Came to show the movement, moving like a freight train, breaking walls and crumble earth with every step we take. We walking by with lash and your neck will break.